One hallway, one thing out of place. Miss it, and you'll have to start all over again. Exit 8 makes paranoia a survival skill. Welcome to Scary World, where I walk you through the best, the worst, and the downright disturbing. I'm Arturo Padilla.
Hi.
Let's get into it. A man is trapped in a looping subway passage where spotting the anomaly is the only way out, and the exit gets more personal the closer he gets. The first category is production. Does this movie look good? Is it well executed? Exit 8 was directed by Genki Kawamura. The movie's adapted from indie game developer Kotake Create's cult hit, and Kawamura makes sure to immerse you in that gaming experience. From the jump, the POV camera work locks you in. That immersion is helped by seamless transitions between loops that keep your attention pinned to the screen. The shots are framed and composed nicely, making sure you catch everything in front of you and around you, which matters in a movie built on spotting what's out of place. The sound design is awesome and does a lot of the heavy lifting. From the moment our main character takes his headphones off, to the score, to every echo and hum in that station. The sound is engineered to keep your senses heightened. And the clinical fluorescent lighting paired with shifting color tones makes the space feel both too bright and deeply wrong. For production, Exit 8 gets a 2 out of 2. I really liked the way this movie looked overall. The execution on every level was awesome. From the sound to the color to the camera work, everything was built around this gaming experience for the audience and making sure the audience felt like they were in the actual game, making decisions right along with the characters. The next category is story. Does this all make sense? Does it keep you engaged? The premise sounds thin on paper, but the execution plays on your deepest anxieties. There's a helplessness baked into every single loop. You're stuck alongside the protagonist and the film knows it. The pacing is slow, but it's a delivery system for a deeper curiosity that keeps pulling you forward. And once you understand what's actually going on beneath the gimmick, it immerses you even further. The tension and suspense build across all 3 acts, sinking the story deeper into your fear of the unknown, never knowing what's coming around the corner. For story, Exit 8 gets another 2 out of 2. The story is simple and it is a little bit slow, but once it gets going and you get yourself immersed in the experience of the game and the story, you are fully invested in this movie. And that's a testament to the writing, especially being adapted from a video game that in itself sounds very one note. This movie makes sure to hit every beat along the way in order for the audience to stay fully immersed in the experience. The next category is ensemble. Are the performances good? Does the cast have chemistry? The cast does a great job with their respective roles. The performances are strong, carrying a story that lives almost entirely in reactions and restraint. The actors sell the mounting dread convincingly, which is not easy to do when so much of the runtime is one man in a hallway. Speaking of the one man in a hallway, the protagonist Kazunari Ninomiya does so much with very little. This movie doesn't have a lot in the way of dialogue and exposition, but Ninomiya excels through the slow burn on facial expressions and body language alone. For ensemble, Exit 8 gets another 2 out of 2. It's a tiny cast, but they all knew what their mission was on set, to make sure that the horror is expressed through their acting, because there is not much here in terms of story and dialogue and exposition. There is a lot of work to be done, and these actors make sure they carry that load and this movie all the way to the finish line. The next category is horror. Does it deliver the goods? Is it scary? There's no blood or gore here. The horror in this movie is built from fear of the unknown. It's full of atmospheric dread and creepy vibes. Trying to spot the anomalies with the characters weaponizes your own paranoia against you. Unfortunately, the film does lean on some very questionable CG. It looks a bit wonky and it does pull you out of that dread that was otherwise very effective. For horror, Exit 8 gets a 1 out of 2. As I said, there's tons of dread that's built from the suspense and the tension throughout all 3 acts, but there's very little scares in this movie. There's no jump scares, there's no real frightening aspects here besides that atmospheric tension and the creep vibes that you get throughout the movie. The last category is legacy. Does this movie leave a mark on the genre? Will anyone be talking about this 5 years from now? Exit 8 is solid, especially for a movie based on an indie video game. It does a great job making sure the viewers are playing right along with the characters. That said, it is quite slow. That slow, deliberate pace works well on first watch, but it makes for a tough rewatch once the mystery's gone. For legacy, Exit 8 gets a 1 out of 2. This was a good movie. It delivers on the promise of the premise and makes the viewer stay engaged throughout all the slow parts, throughout all the acts, and really does a good job of translating that video game experience to that home watch. Now let's add it all up. For production, Exit 8 got a 2. For story, it got a 2. For ensemble, another 2. For horror, it got a 1, and for legacy, it got a 1, bringing the total to an 8 out of 10. Exit 8 is a masterclass in doing a lot with very little. It's a claustrophobic, anxiety-soaked puzzle that trusts your patience and rewards it at the end. It does stumble when it reaches for effects it didn't need, but it's a confident, unnerving watch that deserves every bit of its praise. I'm Arturo Padilla, and remember, it's a scary world out there, but I am here to walk you through it. See you next time.